Let's go now live to LNP member for Leichhardt, Warren Entsch. This electorate, of course, taking in Cairns and further north. Thanks for your time. You were listening into that. You've been questioning the Bureau's forecasts. Rob did say, look, this is tricky to predict, and the most likely forecast given by the Bureau was accurate, but there should have been the added warning. There could have been a lot more rain, and that was always a possibility. What do you make of what you've heard Rob say there about the Bureau?
And that is it in a nutshell. I mean, we were certainly on an hourly basis talking about a possible Category 2 cyclone that hit the coast up near just south of Wudgil, predominantly into a national park area. There was absolutely almost no infrastructure damage whatsoever. And in fact, on the Thursday morning, it hit on Wednesday. Thursday, I'll just give you this. If you could see this here, this is the local paper. Let's have a look.
Just pull it back a bit, Warren. Just pull it back a bit.
Back a bit here. Have a look.
Back towards you. That's the way.
Thursday. Okay, so in the far north, out of harm's way as Cyclone Jasper crosses the coast. Worst is over. That's on Thursday morning's paper, right? And of course, nobody had any idea of what was about to occur. And there is your challenge. Now, nobody was prepared. In fact, everybody was on high alert for days leading up to Jasper. And it was almost, the reporting that was done was almost like it was going to be Armageddon. You had all our emergency services activated and ready to go for what, in effect, was a non-event. Just as they're starting to breathe a sigh of relief and people are thinking they're going to get back to normal power, and that was being restored because we do lose power in wet season, suddenly we got this 1 in 100 event that just dumped on us. Nobody was prepared for it, and all of those emergency services people that have been manning these centres since the start of Jasper were absolutely exhausted, and then they had to ramp up again. It was, a lot. We couldn't stop the event from happening. It was always going to happen, but if the warnings had been there was a prospect of this happening, a lot of people would have been a lot more prepared.
So, yeah, the preparation could have been better, obviously. The lead-up I remember was, will it be a king tide at the same time? Will it be a Cat 3 or Cat 4? And once it was a Cat 2 and missing the king tide, the thought was that the worst of it will be avoided. There's obviously no ill intention from the Bureau. What needs to happen, in your view, given what we've heard from Rob Sharp and what should have been known or what was known around, not the most likely scenario, but the possibility for the amount of rain that was had? What needs to happen from here, in your view, to prepare better for next time?
Well, first of all, several years ago, and this is not pointing finger, it was done under a government that I was part of. The decision was made to relocate the service from Cairns or Far North Queensland to Brisbane. At the time, I raised serious concerns about the fact that we were losing local knowledge, etc., and we were losing people out of the area that were critical to having a greater understanding. In spite of my protests, they went ahead with it, and they assured me that with all of the technology they have in Brisbane, they can run the show from there. Clearly, there is a problem, and so one of the things that I will be very strongly pushing is that we have a presence here, a local presence in Far North Queensland. That way, at least we've got people with real local knowledge, and I think that was a very, very grave mistake because nobody was prepared for this. Nobody at all. We thought it was all over, and now we've got to deal with the situation. I was just talking to our tourism people here. They're estimating at this stage they've got $125 million worth of losses there alone. I'm going out
so just on that. Yeah, just on that, and as you noted, that the change happened under the coalition to seemingly pull resources down to Brisbane.
Yep.
But just on the tourism aspect, are you happy so far? The response of what I've heard this morning from the federal government is, look, all the initial payments have been triggered around, families in particular, but the next step will be businesses in particular. They say they're very much ready to have those thresholds met and start the money flowing. Where needs it most?
Well, look, I've got to say, first of all, on families, it's great to see that they're starting something, but 1,566 gross for a couple is which a ceiling, and then they're not entitled. I've got families here that not only lost their house, both of them working, they're a little bit over that $1,500 ceiling. They've lost their house in all its context completely. They've lost both of their cars that enable them to get to work, and they don't qualify for any support whatsoever. I think we need to be looking something a lot more, open than that, acknowledging that these families are in desperate need, and by putting a ceiling there, businesses, we're still ascertaining it. I'm going out to a seafood business at the moment here at Christmas time, ready to go, and they've lost a hell of a lot of product. They're still without power. So there's another one. We've got infrastructure that it's going to be a real. Can I say to you just an example? From Mossman up to Cooktown, the coastal road. This is where you've got Woodgill, Bloomfield, Rossville, Ayton, Cow Bay, Cape Tribulation. All of those are completely locked out. Massive infrastructure problems there on the road, where roads have been subsided, washed away, or there's been major, landslides. They're going to be out now for quite a long time, but we need to prioritise those areas and get support into them. They can't move.
Yeah, for the people. Yeah, the people wanting to get back to their daily lives. Tourism might be a priority right now, but it's big in the region, so that'll be important to try to get that back as a next step. Look, I know there's a lot going on, and then we get to insurance and whether people aren't insured up there right now because of how high the premiums have been. Yeah. We've got to leave it there, Warren.
They jacked up the prices.
I know. Yeah.
Let's see how they go with that. That's going to be a major test as we go into it. Now, I understand that Brisbane had a much more severe cyclone during this whole event, and yet I'm sure we'll be looking at paying the price. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on the insurance company to make sure that it happens. But I've got to say to you, just on a positive note, it is amazing how locals are hoping locals up here. We've just got to get the rest of them to help to catch up.
There's been some incredible pitching in and rescues as well, haven't there? Those
absolutely.
Well, we think there's still this 85-year-old man missing, but other than that, people have been able to be rescued from pretty tricky situations. Warren Entsch, got to leave it there. I know there's a lot going on. We'll be talking during the summer. I am sure that insurance issue, a big one. Another coalition policy was that the reinsurance pool. Has that worked? Jury's a bit out on that.